Hey dorks, just a quick message reminding you to head over to twitch.tv/mindgappodcast and give us a follow. We live stream when we record our new podcast episodes, and we're live streaming video game sessions on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We're playing super rad stuff like Among Us, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, Jackbox games, and Tabletop Simulator. Come hang out and play along with us. That's twitch.tv/mindgappodcast.
Mind Gap Podcast.
You're welcome.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
And I'm Justin.
And we're so thankful that you have joined us for this week's sermon on acid reflux. It's that demon that lives kind of in your esophagus, and it will come out whenever it damn well pleases. It burns, it churns, it ruins your life.
Preach.
Because you have sinned. The end. Have a good day. Leave a tip in the tip jar. Thank you. Like the demon that steals your semen at night. Whew.
Yes. Just like that. I'll take this one. Yes.
Pretty sure I saw that on a video once.
Was it on camguys.com?
It was not. It was on...
You can search Big J83.
It was hentaiisreal.com, I think is where I saw that one. Yeah.
Gotta be on poop.com if it's anywhere.
Poop.com. On your Mom's House podcast, they've been showcasing this really, they call them cool guys. This really cool guy who gets super excited. He videos like all these posters and stuff that he gets from Amazon.com, and he was super pumped.
How he says it?
Oh, he goes, "Oh boy, look at what I've got here. It is a poster I ordered from Amazon.com, and it is a poster of Bayonetta. Oh, fuck. She looks so good. I like this poster because you can see her ass. Oh, it's so yummy. I would like to taste it." He's a real cool guy. He's ordered mouse pads with
Moving on.
He's ordered mouse pads with adult actresses on them, and he's like, "And now they're on my mouse pad." I'm like, okay, this guy's very special.
Oh boy. And this is a YouTube reviewer?
I don't know what people they send this guy's clips to the podcast, and they're like, "Check out this guy."
All right, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
This man exists in the world, and I'm not happy that I know that.
What we call a cool guy. Speaking of things that are cool, guys, we are on Spotify, in case you didn't know that. I know you guys like Spotify, and we're there, just like so many other things. So if you're listening to your cool tunes, if you're trying to relax after a day of hot yoga, just know that you can go right over and search for Mind Gap Podcast, and you will find us. We're right there on Spotify. So check it out. Amongst other places like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, things, Stitcher, YouTube. Find us in all those places. But specifically Spotify. That's what we are. Yeah. Come find us. Come hang out with us. It's pretty cool.
You can also type in Mind Gap Podcast in the Google machine, and it'll show you us.
Google, show me where to find that Mind Gap. Yes, sir. Follow me, Timmy. Let's go through the darkness of the internet to find your deepest desires. Welcome to poop.com.
If Google had a voice, it would be exactly what you just heard.
Did we just find our first clip of the week?
Market 11:35.
All right, so let's just go back a little bit and say 11 minutes. There we go.
Oh my.
All right.
What do you think? Okay, real quick. What do you think if Google Chrome itself, not the search engine, but Chrome, had a voice? What would it be?
Imagine it'd be he'd be like a spy. He'd be like smoking, and he'd be like, Hello. I know where you've been, and I know where you want to go. All you need to do is ask.
That's 100% what it would be.
Because at first I thought it'd be a creepy guy, but no, this one's intelligent. It knows. It'll like, hey, what are you trying to finish your sentence? Because I know the answer already. Based on your porn searches. Listen, incognito is not that incognito.
Incognito? You wish. Incognito.
You wish no one knew, but I do.
What about Internet Explorer? I feel like Internet Explorer would be, hey guys, search me. Guys,
Internet Explorer is Sloth from Goonies. He's like, hey, you guys, follow me on the pirate ship.
You want me to install Chrome for you?
It's like, don't worry, there's lots of leaks. Everything's gonna get out and get in, but we're gonna have fun.
Firefox has got to be just like this, like old, like they don't fucking care anymore. Firefox, no one remembers me.
That's what it's like.
Uses me?
You know, I used to be an A-lister. I used to be an A-lister. They'd come to me and they'd be like, "Oh, Internet Explorer's a piece of shit," and they'd be all over me. But now they don't even
they were
touch
like,
me.
"Oh, the new hot thing is Firefox." You remember Morpheus? Yeah, we were best friends. Yeah.
LimeWire.
Remember LimeWire? I used to get you what you needed. Then fucking Chrome comes along. That piece of shit.
Like, hey, you want an autograph? You want an autograph?
You know he's listening to you, that fucking Chrome.
Yeah. He's watching you all the time. He knows your secrets.
Watching.
He makes it easy, but it's at a cost. It's at a cost.
Also, you think that incognito mode does anything? You're wrong.
It doesn't. You just got to input your information again. It just doesn't save it for you. That's it.
Exactly. That's all it is. It's just a roadblock.
A roadblock for your cock. That's it.
A roadblock for your cock.
Speaking of other cool things, guys, we have merch on our merch store. Segway. Head on over to teespring.com/stores/2E8. That's teespring.com/stores/2, 8. We got a brand new t-shirt in the store. And it looks a little something like this. Oh!
People can't get enough gobby.
That's right. Inspired from the Dungeon Karens from the Dungeons and Dragons board game extravaganza. We've got ourselves a brand new t-shirt. It's also inspired from Jared. And it's this beautiful little goblin that says, you can't handle a gobby. So it's available in many different colors. Pick yours up today at teespring.com/stores/2, 8, among other things like face masks and other t-shirts and other cool things. Right there for you. You support the podcast. You support your body. What else can you ask for? It's the best.
We've got support garments for you.
Mm-hmm. And all your non-nudity needs. Oh, that's kind of hard to say.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah. Slotty says, speaking of fun t-shirts, Doug, you've got a couple things coming your way.
Oh, thank you.
How did Saturday go?
So, this last Saturday's stream, video game stream, was amazing. We had Chris and Steve from the Reviewniverse podcast stop by, and we played a whole slew of Jackbox games. We played Murder Trivia Party 2. We played Joke Boat. We played Quiplash. We played another one I can't remember the name of. We played them all. We ended on TKO. And if you want to see highlights from that, head over to our YouTube channel now. You can see a nice little cut. It is not for children, and it is not safe for work. I'll tell you that much. But one of the highlights was we ended the stream with a game called TKO, and the whole purpose of that game is to design, you draw, and then you come up with slogans, and then you pick those slogans and the designs, and it goes on a t-shirt, and then you vote which one's going to win, and inevitably it gets filthy, because that's how the world works. And before we started, Chris from the Reviewniverse podcast said, hey, I think that whichever t-shirt wins, Doug, you should, I'll buy it for you, and Doug, you should wear it on your next stream. And I was like, that sounds good, and did not take into account the level that people were willing to go to get the filthiness on a t-shirt. There were a lot of penises that people drew. A lot. There was so many
God,
penises.
that looks so gross and phallic.
So many penises. And ultimately the one that won is going to be a real fun one to wear. And I was told from both Slotty and Jared that in addition to the winning one, they both individually sent me other shirts that will inevitably have dicks on them. So,
Yep.
and
the
my
nice
face.
thing about this game is that it allows you, Doug informed me, it allows you to directly order whatever you've drawn in the game. And how wonderful is that? I mean, that's just what this is a shirt that, Doug, how are you going to keep this one from your daughter? Is this going to be under lock and key?
I mean, here's the thing. I often look at these t-shirts as like, well, I'll just wear them while I'm mowing, or maybe when I'm walking the dog early in the morning.
Oh, really? You're going to
Don't think that's going to be possible. This is true capitalism at its finest. It's a shirt that I'll wear once or not at all. Like, because these other ones, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, one of them has an adorable cat on it. It really does. And I mean, we'll have to see.
Well, you'll have to tune into the Twitch stream when Doug wears it, and you'll see.
Here's what I've agreed to. I've agreed to wear it for a podcast and for a video game stream, so it's going to get 2 uses. So
yes,
there we go.
So you tune into one of those, and you will be able to see in all its glory what Doug is wearing.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what I get. It'll be a real blast. Speaking of our video game stream, this Saturday, that is August the 1st, first day of August, we are headed back into the dungeon.
Oh, boy.
For Dungeons and Dragons, the fantasy board game, for adventure number 4. And this is a big one, Justin.
I wish I have to get some sort of like epic. Every time you tease this, I do not have a sound, some bed music to go under it. And that is completely on me.
You've got some music you could play.
Tell me about going into.
It's not what I expected. I expected the sexy stuff, but.
Oh, okay.
So we're headed back into the dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to do to me in the dungeon?
Tell me about it.
Tell me about all the gobbies.
I can't wait to get my feet in that dungeon.
Amongst other things.
Set foot on the path to enlightenment. Yeah. Gonna whip out my MILF missiles. Send them directly into the face of the Hydra. Gonna wait for those gobbies.
People can't get enough gobby.
To pop up. Maybe resurrect after I step on a trap. Break your mother's back. Yeah.
These spoken word poems are just really, they're award worthy, you know?
Thank you. Thank you.
But we are headed back in.
Install for.
This is important because this is Adventure 4, and if you guys survive this one, then you level up. So it's a really big one.
We get different outfits.
That's right. You get different outfits.
That's what that means to me.
And you get more health points, you get more spell points, you get a lot of stuff. So
okay, but new outfits.
Oh, new outfits, right?
I mean, come on.
So it's gonna be fun. We're always joined by Sam, by Jared, by Eric, by Justin, and I will be hosting as Dungeon Master. It's gonna be great. So that's Saturday, August 1st, 8 p.m. Central Time. Head over to twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. Come hang out with us. Come make silly jokes. I've loaded the new soundbite into the sound panel so you can play the Fuck Me Slotty soundbite while we play.
Fuck me, slutty.
Hey, that's at your fingertips. So come on and
you
press
guys
those
will
buttons.
get to play that as many times as you want, just like I can right now.
Fuck me, slutty.
Ugh. It's the before it starts that, and I
don't understand. I wish Jared was on the Twitch stream right now because I need to know what that was about. Why?
Fuck.
Why? Why that? Why did that happen?
Because it's not like it's aggressive, like fuck me, Slotty, or like.
Yeah, it's not like fuck me, Slotty. It's
fuck me, slutty.
really enjoying the concept of this.
And I immediately paused. I go, well, I'm going to make that a soundbite. He's like, what? Of all the things I've said, that's the one you're going to take? I'm like, yes, of course. Quotes out of context. That's my favorite thing in the world. My favorite thing in the world.
One of the most perfect sound bites I think we've ever captured.
We've captured some good ones. So,
We have. We really have.
Yeah. So good stuff coming.
Oh,
I'm super excited. I'm always happy to do Dungeons and Dragons with you guys. You always make it so much fun. So I'm looking forward.
It's going to be a good one.
I'm
very excited about it.
Yeah. Let's get into some fun stuff for this week because we found a match made in heaven, perhaps a team up of epic proportions, a crossover of worlds that puts Marvel's cinematic universe to shame.
Yes.
We are
a colossal crossover of crunch.
Yes, and something,
if you will.
That none other than how Kentucky Fried Chicken and Crocs, the shoe company, are combining forces to make the KFC chicken-scented Crocs.
It's the thing you
Need
never
I
knew
say
you
more?
missed. It's the thing you never knew you didn't know you need.
It's the one thing you didn't know that you ever wanted to exist,
If there's one thing that if I could think of probably one of the worst things combination-wise, it's the concept of the smell of feet. Like stinky, I've been walking in these Crocs for days, never rinsed them out, feet, and then fried chicken on top of that. Like oily, greasy, delicious, golden, crispy fried chicken.
Yeah, here's a shot of what we're looking at here, what they look like.
It is
something.
And I want to know if they come with the chicken legs on top of them.
I
as
think
they're
they
pictured
do.
Here.
I think they do. I think those
Is
are
this a new like serving platform for them? Is the chicken gonna come in a crock?
I don't know. I just and one of the lines in here that's the most terrifying is, where is it? The price for the chicken scented clogs has not been revealed yet, but they will be available for purchase. Given the limited edition nature, they are expected to sell out quickly.
And that's the thing that I think pisses me off the most, is that these things will sell out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate that.
They're absurd. They're absurd items that like people feel like they need to have, right? It's just so bizarre.
Why?
Slotty says, as Jared would likely say, it's a chook on a crock.
Fuck me, slutty.
Thanks, Jared.
Why? I want to know what the marketing pitch was, or the marketing meeting was. Like, who was sitting at? Was it KFC that went to the Crocs company, or was it Crocs that went to KFC and said, "Hey, we should partner"?
I know who this was.
Oh, tell me.
This was Francis, an up and coming marketing guy. He's like, he wants to take his shot. So what he did is, on his own, he commissioned a demographics report, a study of all the customers that come into KFC. He's like, I need to know. I need to find that insights. I've got to find that one thing because, promotions are coming up. Mid-year reviews just came in, and I gotta make my mark. And he's just going through the data, and it's just like pouring over it. And he's like, oh, wait, there's a connection between our Kentucky Fried Chicken and the sheer amount of people that wear Crocs. And he goes, you know what? I'm not even going to run this by the right people. I'm going to make the call myself. He did. And when that next big marketing meeting came in, he walked in there, just kicked the door open, and was like, shut the fuck up! I'm going to save us. I'm going to save this company. And they're like, I already forgot his name. Francis, listen. We're fine. We're Kentucky Fried Chicken. There's plenty of fat people everywhere. We're not going out of business. And he's like, no. I'm going to save your ass. All right. Kentucky Fried Chicken has just partnered with Crocs. And everyone goes, what? He's like, I already made the call. I already signed the contract. We are good to go. Crocs are making Kentucky Fried Chicken, chicken-scented Crocs.
Francis, you're a junior copywriter. How did you get your hands on that contract?
Well, I tell you what, soon to be direct report. I made it up. I've seen plenty of contracts on TV. I wrote it myself. We're good to go.
Well, you're fired for starters.
I don't think so.
He just tells him no.
I don't think so. This is the only confidence
so.
he's ever had in his life. He's like, I don't think so. It's like, you're going to be working for me someday, Dan.
The only piece of data that I think that you got slightly wrong there was it's not people who enjoy wearing Crocs. It's people whose feet are too fat to fit into regular shoes. And so the only option they have is to wear Crocs.
So I'm going to ask an honest question here. This is not being
Please.
facetious. What is it about Crocs that people hate so much?
For me, it's the fact that they're just gross looking. Like they're just not stylish. They look like
They are now?
they look like the shoe equivalent of a person who's given up on life,
Okay.
who just stops trying.
I mean, it's weird because it's mostly a rubber shoe, but then
Mhm.
it's also not. And I think that's what I don't like is it's trying too much to be something. It's
Yeah.
like pick a lane, you know?
Right.
It's like a restaurant
I
that's like we do pizza, we also do pasta, we do tacos, and we do ribs. And it's like I'm concerned about all of those being under one roof. Can you just pick one?
Right. Technically, you can say all of those things are on your menu, none of which you do well.
Yeah, I'm concerned
Yeah.
if all of those are
Very
options.
concerned. I think the thing is too, like it's funny because I don't have a problem with sandals. I don't care if people wear slip-on shoes like Vans the slip-on skater
Yeah.
shoe. No problem with those whatsoever. But for some reason, when you make them a hybrid, when you like merge a slip-on shoe and sandals, and then you punctuate them, and then you make them kind of out of rubber, I'm not a fan. I can't for some reason, and I don't mind house slippers either, which are just non-rubberized Crocs.
Yeah. It's
I don't know
interesting
what it is
because
specifically about Crocs that piss me off.
I feel like I've gotten a beat on fashion, or at least I shouldn't say fashion. Just
You want to revise that?
popular items that people like to wear in my visits to Disney World. Because on
okay.
multiple occasions I've seen just like the popular things that everyone is doing. One of which
Sure.
was the shoes that kids had that had like little roller skates in them.
Oh yeah, the
And
wheelies.
they would go and they would skate for a second, then come down. And I was like, wow, those are really big. The most recent time I went was selfie sticks were
Okay,
really
yeah.
a big deal. Really big deal. But there was one particular time where everyone I saw had Crocs. And I was like, what are these things? And everyone had them. I'm like, I guess these are popular. And then all of a sudden, you know, it quickly became the Nickelback of the footwear universe. So
Right, exactly. Slotty says, so Crocs plus sweatpants is the official uniform of nihilism. Yes, if they remade the Big Lebowski, the dude would 100% be wearing Crocs.
how could you make Crocs sexy?
Oh, man.
Oh
I mean,
my God,
put a-
I just ordered my Crocs from Amazon.com and oh my God, it has Bayonetta's ass on them. Oh, it's so tasty.
I would say put them on me and boom,
Oh,
you've made them sexy. But I don't know. I don't think you can make Crocs sexy, man. You put Crocs on any individual, like think of the best looking actor or actress you can think of. You put Crocs on them, and I'm still going to guarantee they're not good looking. They just don't work.
dude, there has to be Croc porn out there, right?
I take it back. Slotty says Paul Rudd could do it. You're right. Paul Rudd could do it. You're right. You're right. He was trending today on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
for
Because
the
he was just
mere
sexy.
fact- just because he's hot.
Yeah.
Yes. And he doesn't age.
Yeah.
So, yes. How do you make him hot? To answer your question, Paul Rudd.
Put them on Paul Rudd's feet.
Paul Rudd. Yep.
Paul Rudd would make them adorable.
Yeah. I don't know if he'd make him sexy, but he would make him adorable.
Yeah, he'd make them
Yes.
totally adorable.
Exactly. And I might even consider buying some chicken Crocs if Paul Rudd was hawking them.
Mm.
I'm just saying.
Yikes.
Only if he feeds them to me.
I think my biggest issue with this is that they smell like chicken too. I'm like, I don't need that. Like, I
No.
really don't.
You
And these
really
things look just absolutely horrific.
Yeah, they look like a bucket of fried fucking chicken.
Yeah, they're like platforms. They almost look like platform shoes, and just I don't love a piece of food that much to be like, I need a shoe that says this. Like,
Oh no, that smells of it.
that smells of it and looks like that.
Right.
Like, what I want you to think of a food that you would possibly put on your feet, like in this fashion. Like, what's one thing, or like a corporate entity where you're like, I need to have something that says what this is.
You know what
On my
shoe
feet.
I would like? What shoe I'd like to try out is a Kraft mac and cheese shoe.
There you go.
Because I'd like to slip my foot into a shoe filled with Kraft macaroni and cheese
There you go.
and just listen to the.
It
as
makes
you
that
walk around.
noise like it's
does.
like that's how it's designed, is to always make that noise.
Yep.
Like you've got wet feet, but they're
Exactly, yeah. And then it just smells like mac and cheese and feet.
not. Ugh.
I think that's the other thing too, is that Crocs are designed to be worn in warmer weather. We can agree on this, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so in warmer weather, you sweat. When you sweat, typically things start to smell. And so again, I pose to you fried chicken and the smell of feet. There's just nothing good to come of this.
There's nothing like it, man. That's really what it boils down to. There's nothing
What
like
would
it.
you what food would you put on your foot, Doug?
I mean, trying to think of like that that corporate entity, right? That's like, you gotta have what's something that's really gross? Something just
Sbarro. Slotty says
Sbarros.
Yeah.
What's a gross one? Like Jack in the Box, or no, White Castle.
ooh, it's what you crave. There you go.
Hey, are you wearing those White Castle Crocs? You know it, because I love corporate America, and this stuff not only makes me poop, but it also makes my farts smell bad, and therefore it's gonna make my feet smell bad. White Castle, you can eat there.
Crocs that come in a crave box.
It writes itself, man.
It really
writes
does. This
itself.
copy is writing it fucking self.
How could you not? You know?
Oh my
How could
God.
you not?
Does
get
it
some?
say in that article when those are coming out? When those
July
are
28th.
dropping?
As of when we recorded it, it's coming out. It came out yesterday.
Man,
So,
I would love I cannot wait to see how quick these units move.
well, let's head over to crocs.com. Oh, it's already sold out. It's
No.
already sold out.
Oh, it makes me so upset to hear.
Sold out. Look at
Oh
that
my
shit.
God.
Look at that shit. Ugh. I mean, look at this horrific commercial. This is terrible. Like, what's boiling in there? I don't know. What could it possibly be? Ding ding. Chicken's done. Maybe. This is such a weird commercial, man.
Yeah,
Done,
not a fan of anything
done,
I'm watching right now.
done. Ugh. And look at those gross chickens on there, too.
I don't know why they have to put those on there.
Look how big they
Ugh.
are. Ugh. A truly
There's
original recipe. Put these on your bucket list. Ugh.
Oh, your bucket list. Don't like it. There's been some other really weird product or brand crossovers in the past, and there's a Business Insider article that goes over these. And the first one they talk about is Burger King's Flame Cologne.
Oh, yeah.
And the image that they used to sell this might be one of the most disturbing images I've ever seen. It harkens back to when oh God, what's his name? Burt Reynolds was on Playgirl.
Oh, yeah.
It's just gross.
Before we kind of go down that
It's
road, I want to draw
flame
attention
cologne.
to one other thing real quick. I want to.
Oh, please.
In particular, want to zoom in on one particular thing. The fried gibbets. You get each pair of code-branded footwear comes with 2 gibbets, charms made to resemble and
that's
smell
what
like
those
human
are.
chicken. But I want to zoom in on one thing in particular. Whoops, that's too far. Hold on. Right here. Not for human consumption.
Well, good. I'm glad they specified that.
Because they're like, legal was like, you guys realize that someone's going to try and eat this, right? Like some idiot's going to try and eat this because it looks like a real thing.
Not a fan of it.
Sad. I'm sad now.
Yeah, it makes me fucking sad that first off that these exist, and second that legal had to say, hey, just throw something on there, throw a little bit of copy at the bottom. You can make it small,
Yeah.
but just say that just because it smells like fried chicken doesn't mean you can eat it.
Water Speech, welcome. He says, huge resale market on Crocs. And they smell like chicken. Because they come from the Chinatown market. Oh my God. That's funny.
That's gross. I don't like it.
Look at this. Oh my God. Last sale, $250. Oh my God. It's a nightmare.
The Crocs are reselling for $200.
Well, Sly says, dude, the resale on the KFC Croc is already $98.
Don't like it. Don't like it. Don't need it. Don't like it.
Anyway, going back to the weird crossover, let's show everyone what you were talking about here, which is
God,
this gorgeous. Ooh, yeah.
And for those of you listening on the podcast, just on Business Insider, just look up 13 bizarre products from brands you know and love. That's all you got to look up.
So basically, what we're looking at right now. Yeah, we're looking at a photo of a guy wearing that creepy king's head, and he's laying on his side in a very sexy magician pose in front of a fire with a blanket over him, and there's this bottle called Flame right in front of his junk.
And it says here, thankfully, it doesn't actually smell like a Burger King store, but we're unsure if, quote, the combination of Axe body spray tag and this YSL cologne characterization when user gave it is any better. Like, it's just basically every douchey cologne that you could possibly think of. And then Burger King, for some reason, decided they needed to market this.
Burger King's like, we're all over this.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean, I got to give people, I can't even say give them credit or give them kudos. They're trying to do something.
Sure. They're trying.
There's
another one in here that I think is just, I kind of want to get my hand on one of these, but it's NASCAR romance novels.
Yeah, let's absolutely talk about this.
Yeah.
Because this one.
There's Harlequin is apparently a line of trashy romance novels. NASCAR teamed up with them, and they made they made one of those sex novels that your moms like to read. So have fun with that.
Ooh, here we go. Check out the description of this one.
Hold on, Doug.
Okay, yeah. Set the stage.
Go ahead.
All right. Let me get you guys a little close up of me here while I tell you all about this one. Former NASCAR driver Derek Garner wants only to run his youth program for inner city kids, but impassioned teacher Claire Sablin has her own ideas for her students, and she never mixes business with pleasure. Except this time, she's finding dark and sexy Derek hard to resist. She's gonna.
Oh, man.
Yeah. NASCAR and romance.
Get your rocks off.
I just poop ejaculated my moist missile.
That's right.
Yeah, some of the other ones on this list are just really gross. But we don't need to go over all of these.
What, you mean like Gerber adult food?
Right, or Cosmo edibles. Not sure what that is.
Yeah.
Want to know.
It's like, so it's like dairy products.
Right.
Including yogurt and soft cheeses. That's right, a woman's magazine offering refrigerated edible goods. Why?
Or Paula Deen's butter-flavored chapstick.
Yeah, that one is, oof.
Because Paula Deen.
But do you see the phrase on there? It says, put a little south on your mouth.
Sorry.
And she's got her face on there. This is just, Paula Deen's got eyes like doll's eyes.
She really does. Her
Water Speech, you shut your mouth. He said all these crossovers are all at the MCU's fault. Fuck you. How dare you? How dare you, sir? You shut your mouth.
Oh my God.
Woo!
Yeah, I would say go look the rest of these up. Like Cadbury bath products. We don't need chocolate foot scrub. That's just gross.
Bic pantyhose. That seems like a perfect one. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Strange times.
Some swings and misses.
Yep.
Swings and misses.
As Jesus once said, they can't all be gems. You know?
Look, if Jesus said it,
You know it's true. In other news,
I had.
what'd you say?
I said that's the holiest sound effect I had.
Yeah, right. Ta-da! He's awake.
Sorry, I take it back. Jesus! Is it better?
That's gotta be a clip too, right?
42 minutes in.
Okay, I'm gonna label this just Jesus! Exclamation point. That'll be good.
I did find this next thing really interesting because this goes right in line with what we talked about a couple times in a row, a couple podcasts in a row, and then Slotty wrote a wonderful article for Tui State's blog section. You can check that out if you look up, go to tuistate.com and check out the blogs page. It talks about what movie theaters are going to have to do moving forward to kind of keep up with the times. And Universal and AMC Theater finally came to an agreement.
They had some wine. They went out to dinner. One thing led to another.
Bada bing, bada boom.
AMC fingered Universal, and then here we are. You know,
right? Exactly. And then look, AMC goes, "Hey, look, Universal.
We'll get to the butt in a second.
Okay, yeah." So, no, I think it's funny that they came to this. So they came to a groundbreaking 17-day theatrical window deal, which basically, they're not going to do it for all movies, but they agreed that after a movie has been in theaters for 17 days, if it's not performing as well as Universal was hoping, that they can then put it on VOD. And the AMC finally basically caved because they were the ones. It was Universal that AMC was like, we refuse to show any Universal movies ever. And then AMC went, you make far too much money on your movies for us to say that. We're sorry.
Yeah.
Can you please come to the table with us? Thank you.
It was interesting because what I find interesting is basically they have an option to have a movie in theaters for 3 weeks, which is typically where they make the majority of their money anyway.
Right.
And then they have the option to then go to premium video on demand. What I don't like about this deal is it sounds like AMC is going to get a piece of the proverbial premium VOD pie and take a slice from the revenue generated from those $20 rentals. I feel like that's bullshit. That's horseshit.
If it's not happening on well, because so AMC later on in the article, it does talk about AMC actually creating its own streaming platform or its own digital delivery platform, which if that's the case, absolutely, then AMC should get a cut of that. But if you're renting this off of Apple TV or off of your on demand, if you've got Xfinity or whatever it is, if you're renting it off of there, then there's no fucking reason that AMC should take any sort of cut of that. Period.
Yeah, because I don't understand how AMC. I mean, obviously they're just trying to get some sort of deal in there with them. But I'm like, what have you done to contribute to the premium video on demand? Your part of this business ends once the movie leaves the theater.
Absolutely.
So fuck you. Like, I don't know. I'm sure it was part of a compromise, but I think it's bizarre, especially if you said as they try to make their own. They're just going to squeeze them for as much as they can. Then they're going to have their own. They're going to probably try to run it through there, in which case the movie theaters or the movie companies will then have to parlay through that service if they want to keep the deal going. And this is where I just look at AMC. I'm like, you guys, do you really carry that much weight?
There's a quote here. They say AMC is highly confident that moviegoers will come to our theaters in huge numbers in a post-pandemic world. Sure, maybe
some point,
2 years down the road, at some point it will return, but you guys are going to be fucking hurting for a while. There's no way that people are flocking back in massive numbers come fall. That's just not going to happen. I
mean, this ain't sports, man. Like, I mean, I'm sure people want to go see this, but I feel like and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong on this, but I feel like there's so many entertainment options out there, and going to a dark enclosed space with strangers to watch a movie when you have so many other options out there. I just don't think people are really gonna do that, you know?
No, not at all. And this quote from the CEO from AMC really pisses me off. He goes, AMC enthusiastically embraces this new industry model, both because we are participating in the entirety of the economics of the new structure and because premium video on demand creates additional potential for increased movie studio profitability, which should in turn lead to the greenlighting of more theatrical movies. So all I hear is, jack off, jack off, jack off, jack off, money, jack off, jack off, jack off. Like, that's all I'm
Yeah.
hearing. And they were the ones who were pushing so hard against anything going to VOD or any sort of streaming. They
Yeah.
wanted to preserve that. So to say you're embracing this new model, fuck you.
They're embracing the new model because they get a piece of it, which
Exactly.
I don't understand why they should get a piece of it, honestly. And I really love the movie theater experience, but this seems quite insane to me that this would even be a possibility, that anyone would even allow them. Universal, in my opinion, has the upper hand, and I probably am wrong here because that's why they cut the deal, right? I'm just like, I guess the fear of not being able to release your stuff in theaters is pretty terrifying, right?
Well, that, and I think AMC probably, I guarantee you, they were panicking. They were like, oh, fuck, we are in a far worse place than we realized. And they were like, well, what can we do? And so there was probably this mad dash to strike some sort of a deal. And everyone was like, sure, just compromise so we can get this done and we can kind of level what we're doing. And I think I don't know. I think if a little bit more, if they had addressed this a little bit earlier, I think they could have come to something that made a little bit more sense to me.
I agree. I feel like
I got a room where it happened, so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know, man. I have a hard time believing that is that necessary for Universal to be like, all right, we'll give you a piece of that. I can't think of a good way to phrase this, but AMC has no business dealing with Universal's VOD releases unless it was through AMC's service itself. If they're releasing this through Apple, fuck you. Like, you're not distributing that in. That's Apple. Has nothing to do with you. Like, fuck off.
You're not the distribution platform at that point, so there's no reason you should have cut of the pie.
Yeah, fuck that. So whoever negotiated that, probably it was Francis, probably went in there. It was like, don't worry, guys, I got this. And he somehow just swindled him.
Right. He was like, you know what? KFC, I'm too big for you now. You can't handle this. I have bigger and better things to fry, no pun intended. And I'm moving on. And, he went over to AMC. He's like, guys, I got this. Check this out. Hey, Universal, sit down. Let's talk.
No, what it was is Universal saw the Crocs, or AMC saw the Crocs, and like, get me Francis. Whoever did this is a genius.
The CEO was wearing them and said, these are A, the most comfortable, and B, the most mouth-watering shoes I've ever had on my feet.
And we need that kind of energy to negotiate with Universal.
Also, who wants to do fried chicken for lunch? Because I'm hungry.
Because I'm fucking hungry. Am I right?
Do you think Crocs, it'd be the same thing as if Crocs got a cut of every meal sold at KFC.
That's actually a pretty good.
Like, well, our shoes are making people hungry, and therefore, every time someone purchases a meal, we're gonna get a cut of that.
Well, there was the guy. Who was it? I can't remember. There's been a couple of these legendary deals, right, that you hear about. I feel like there was a baseball player who secured something in his contract that said no matter what happens, he's owed X amount of dollars.
And he got it cleared.
And it's like, so even if he doesn't play, he still gets money. And I think that's still the case. And he's just like nailing it. I also think I heard about some guy he was like working for Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And he made some sort of deal where he got X percentage of every soda that was like sold to them, like as part of his like sales contract. So like it was continual. So, and he landed a big client. And so every time like a purchase was made, he got a percentage of it.
That's ridiculous.
He's like, hey, what are you going to do?
those are the type of people that figure it out. It's like when Lucas initially with Star Wars, where he was like, "You give me merchandise," and they're like, "Fucking fine, have merchandise, idiot."
Yeah.
And then he sold the company for $4.5 billion cash.
Yeah.
So who's laughing now?
Yeah.
It's those people who make those deals that one time and it works. And then whoever made the deal with them goes, "Well, we're not going to do that again." And then it's closed for everyone else.
Water Speech says, forget the Emoji Movie. We need a Crocs flick.
Yes.
Slotty said Bobby Bonilla is apparently the person, and Magic Johnson allegedly had one of those deals too. That's crazy, man.
Interesting.
I don't understand how that stuff gets through the contract negotiation process. Seems wild to me.
It's either an unprecedented move and people don't realize what the long-term effects are of that, or it's just people asleep behind the wheel and they're just not paying attention to when what gets slipped in the fine print. I don't know.
I feel like the George Lucas situation, the merchandising rights, I understand that because merchandising didn't mean shit up to that point.
Up to that point, yeah.
And now it's and then it moves on to to what it is now, where it's like that's why you make movies. It's entirely for merchandising rights. Married with Gaming, welcome back, sir. Hello
to you.
Hello to you, sir. Speaking of hello, the Ellen Degeneres Show workplace is under investigation by Warner Media. Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
I always forget that we have that sound effect.
I always forget to use it. In fairness,
apparently, it's some toxic shit going on over there. That it's apparently it's not about Ellen DeGeneres. Apparently, it's not about that. So, there was apparently, according to this article from Peacock News, at a work party, there was a black woman who was talking to one of the head writers, and one of the show's main writers said, "I'm sorry, I only know the names of the white people who work here."
Nope.
Ugh.
That ain't gonna fly.
Yeah, so apparently there's a lot of shit going down over there, and which is really sad. Sad to hear that stuff, because you see the show, you see the highlights, and everything seems so great.
That show is like a beacon of light, or at least was a beacon of light in a very mixed up, weird world. And Ellen was just everyone's. The show made people happy. She was everyone's friend. I will say that ever since we've gone into the quarantine world and everyone's been doing the shows from home, her show just hasn't had the same the highlights and stuff. It hasn't had that same magic to it. That anytime I've seen the previews for today's episode or whatever, I don't know why. It's just something. I don't know if the magic's gone. I can't describe what it is, but that je ne sais quoi, that whatever it was that made it like, oh, this is so cool, and oh, how touching. It just feels empty. I don't know. And when all this pandemic thing and the quarantine first happened, I did hear that she specifically was under fire because she was either not taking precautions for the people who was setting up gear in her house, or she wasn't using her crew to set it up, and she hired someone else to help set up the gear and do all that stuff. So she did come under fire for not really taking care of her crew very early on. And I don't know whatever came of that, but it does sound like the Disney-esque nature, this perfect picture front or facade that's on the show doesn't really seem, based off this article, doesn't seem to exist behind the scenes.
That's interesting. Married with Gaming asked, do you think her having an audience is what's missing? Because I feel like for a show like that, it's tough because something like The Late Show, right? Yeah. That also is really good with an audience and stuff like that. But I feel like, Water Speech just said, she used to give a ton of stuff away to the crowd. I feel like having those stories of those people and having them physically there, she's had people who are like, my husband or my spouse is deployed and haven't seen him forever. And it's like, they're backstage. It's like those sort of very personal and
house.
Yeah, those real moments are there, and those elements are there, and I think it leads to something that's pretty special. So I definitely think that's part of it. But I think that's a really unfortunate thing because you ever worked in a toxic environment?
Have I?
Yeah.
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 What's it like?
Well, I'll tell you on Monday when I go back to work.
Are you still off from work right now?
Oh yeah, I'm off the whole week.
Hell yeah, nice. No wonder you're so happy.
All right, I came into this and came on the call before we started this, and I'm like, "What's up, Doug?"
You're like, "Hey!" You called me at like earlier today, and I'm like, "Oh, he must have just taken a break or something." We went for a run.
I was out having a beer by the lake, relaxing, enjoying.
It didn't dawn on me. I was like, "Oh, that's right. There's no way you could have done that if you were working." So,
I've worked in toxic environments before, in different capacities, and it's just not good. Where your management is completely inept, or you're surrounded by people who just make it a pain in the ass to come to work, or make it really fucking awkward because they just don't quote unquote get it. You know what I mean? Like it's either really inappropriate jokes or there's they don't respect the personal. There's so many different situations I can think of that I've been in. So it makes it really hard to do your day to day, and it makes it hard to focus on what your actual job is. I know you've had that experience.
I did. I had that for about 6 years, and it was my first real job at the hotel, and it was tough because toxic environment. It's one of those phrases that just kind of gets thrown around, so I feel like the meaning gets lost.
I guess, yeah. What would you consider that then? Maybe I need to amend my answer.
No, I think you're right. I think a toxic environment is an environment in which you have a hard time functioning because your surroundings are so awful. Like,
right,
unapologetically, just you're talking about a weight on your shoulders. Like you can barely get through the day because it is so bad. And there's a difference between this place is run like shit and then also the personnel side of it where, oh my God, my boss, I just went and asked my boss, like, hey, these people are having trouble with their room. They want to move. And I go to the back office to ask him, like, hey, do we have rooms available? And he goes like this. He goes, like, what color are they? And I'm like,
for those listening to the podcast, Doug just rubbed his finger on his arm to indicate skin. That's what his boss used to do to him.
Or he used to have a code word for black people. He'd call them Democrats. He'd go, they Democrats? I go, yeah. And he goes, no.
Oh my God.
Or he'd be like, he'd go,
I would have had such a hard time.
He'd go, like, are they gay? He'd limp his wrist. He goes, I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, no. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
How did this person have a fucking job?
The thing was, he wasn't even the worst of the problem. He wasn't even remotely the biggest part of the problem with that organization. It was a shit show from top to bottom, from T to B.
If you know Doug on a personal level and you know this place that he worked, do us a favor. Don't stay there.
Well, here's the thing. At this point, all that shit all those people are gone. It got repurchased from the lobby to the penthouse in quotes. Right. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of shady shit we would do. Like it was highly encouraged to do shady shit. One of the worst things is if people left gift bags at the front desk to like give out to people that had
party or something
8 to 12 hours after they should have picked it up. And if no one claimed it, people behind the desk would just take it.
You're shitting me.
Nope. If there was food, that food would be eaten.
Really?
Whatever was in there would be like, well, they didn't get it, and they would claim it for themselves.
Wow.
Horrific. It was encouraged. Like people just did it all the time. It was so bad. Just ugh.
I worked at a pizza place where we would steal food right off people's plates. Is that the same thing?
Not quite.
Cool. I'm just checking.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I would dread going into work because I was always put in a situation where I hated having to lie to people. I was forced to lie to people about what was going on. And I was always told, like, it's cool. It's just the way that it is. And when you look back, you're like, what kind of sort of Stockholm Syndrome bullshit did I go through to have to survive?
Your moral compass was just spinning.
It was
It's
awful. I
like,
mean,
what are we doing? Yeah.
I met Drew working at
Right.
the hotel, and one of my least favorite experiences was I forged his signature on something. So what happened was there was a maintenance guy that worked there that the Democrats was he hated, and he wanted him to get him fired. So whenever someone would call down something for maintenance in a room, we were supposed to manually log it on a log and just be like, hey, this is the time that would happen, and then we'd initial it and say that they called in and whatever. And so he goes, make up a thing that happened that he didn't respond to. And I was like, well, I wasn't working that shift. He's like, well, who was working? I was like, Drew. He goes, just put Drew's stuff down there.
Oh, wow.
So I went and I forged it, and I did Drew's initials. And when this maintenance guy's boss came to check on it, he's like, hey, Drew, can you tell me about this? And Drew looked down, and he goes, that's not mine. Those aren't my initials.
Oh,
As I just wrote DD. He doesn't do that. He does A DT or TD or whatever it is. Like, that's how he does his initials. So he's like, that's not me. Someone else wrote that in there. And I was like, because I did it because I was coerced into it.
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
I felt horrible.
You've got to do this.
And I was just watching it unfold, and I was just like, oh my God, I can never tell Drew that was me. And then, of course, years later when we worked at assignment desk, I'm like, I need to confess to something. He goes, I don't even remember what that was. I go, it's haunted me. Because this guy, I was like, that was the level of bullshit that people were doing. It was horrible.
That's crazy level. Again, I don't know how that guy kept his job as a fucking manager.
Again, because he wasn't the worst of the bunch.
Oh my God. I would have had, you know me and how upset I get at that shit. I would have been fired from that job without a doubt. I would have lost my shit on someone.
It was awful, man. I've said it before. I mean, 2 separate occasions I broke down crying in a stairwell because I was just so upset and so frustrated because, especially being in our position, we had to be facing the customers at all times, and we were just outright lying to people every day about stuff. And we would close, like, I remember one time we closed the pool for like a few months in the winter. People would be coming in excited to take their kids into a hotel to go swim in the pool, and they show up and we're like, pool's closed. They're working on it. And they're like, what the fuck? That's why we came here. Yeah. And our boss, I'd like go to my boss because he didn't want to deal with it. He's like, just tell them it was on the website. I'm like, how is that supposed to solve this problem? I'm essentially blaming them for not having eyes, which to some extent is true, right? Like,
sure.
If it's there and you don't see it, but I mean, it should be, there were people that made reservations and then after the fact, this was done and no one called them. No one contacted them to be like, hey, by the way, if this is a big deal, we can cancel this without refund, Like, Water Speech asks, how often do people call you on your lies? Some people did, man. Because here's the thing is our lies weren't good. They were easily disproved because we were essentially, what your goal was to try and get out of your shift. And you'd have to just kick the can down the road. And that was the most depressing thing about leaving is you'd punch out. You'd be like, I fucking made it. But the second you take about 10 steps and you realize everything that I just punted is going to probably be waiting for me. A significant percentage of that will be waiting for me when I come back in for my next shift. And the worst is if you work second shift and then you had to work first shift, everything you did the night before is definitely going to be waiting for you when you come in the morning. Yeah. It was the worst. It was the worst. And I could not separate my work life from my home life. I'd come home just miserable. And Jill's like, you got to leave that there. And I'm like, how can I? I know what's waiting for me when I go back. A nightmare. An absolute nightmare. And so,
that's horrible.
Toxicity is a real thing. Now, I've never been in a situation where I was being bullied, or I was being abused, or when someone made me feel small, like, this woman in this article was saying, like, so it's like, I don't know your name because of the color of your skin. I mean, that's pretty fucked up,
That's toxic on a whole different level.
Yeah. Both very bad situations, but it's definitely not an apples to apples. I'm not saying one's better or worse. I mean, there's just, like I'm saying, like, there's multiple ways to define a toxic workplace.
Right. But I guess one where you do not feel comfortable being at work.
Yeah.
When you're forced to lie to guests like that, or when you're forced to just kind of because one of your superiors is openly racist and you're forced to just deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it runs the gamut.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, and I was so young. I was like 22,
Right, and you
23.
needed the job, and so you're like, "What am I gonna do? Am I gonna call my boss out on this?"
I didn't have the wherewithal to have that kind of conversation where like, hey, I'm not comfortable with you doing this. And be like, are they black? Then don't help them because they typically complain. What are you talking about, sir?
Now, I would love to see them try to pull that same shit with 37-year-old Doug.
Oh man, that's just, well, the thing is, 37-year-old Doug doesn't need that job. So 37-year-old Doug would do his research and be like, who the fuck are you guys? And the second that happened, yeah, that would be an interesting thing to happen. Like if 37-year-old Doug comes to 22-year-old Doug and goes, I'm going to give you the day off. All right, let me step in here for a second, okay?
Well, first things first, everyone would look at you that day and go, "Hey, man, what happened?"
They'd be like,
you look
the same.
Or
You're still bald. Just a little bit grayer here, but you're still bald.
What? Yeah, you look really tired.
Yeah, I that would be an interesting thing where I'd be like, hey, you know what? We can't fix this place. So just like in Fight Club, I've set charges through very specific places in this building, and the cool people get out of here because we're gonna detonate this stuff and just start over because there's no point.
How awesome would it be though if you had that wherewithal and that last day, and you were just like, you know what? I'm comping every fucking person who walks in there.
Well, that's one of those like fantasies that you have, you know.
Upgrades, and you were comping people, and you were like, sure, we can do this. So that, you know what? Here's a voucher to the restaurant.
The only thing I really liked about leaving was that they fucked me over real bad in that they were sort of like, no one was looking out for my career, and I was trying to look out for my career, but I expected someone else to help me, and so like they screwed me out of a lot of opportunities. And at the end, they're like, well, we're going to give Doug, after 6 years of being there, they're like, we're going to help Doug. We're going to give him some experience with housekeeping. So they sent me to a sister hotel. It's not a sister hotel. It's just the GM was married to a woman who was a GM at this other hotel. And they're like, I want you to go over there and shadow the housekeeping department because maybe I could come back and help them with housekeeping or whatever and be a manager over there. And while I was on this... What's that?
It's housekeeping in line with what you were going
to
be doing?
It was something. It was basically an idea of like, if I get more experience throughout the hotel, I'll be more well-rounded, and I'll have more skills. I can potentially do whatever. But while I was there doing this shadowing, Drew approached me and essentially was like, I got a job. Do you want it? Yeah. And I go, sure. And I did an interview, and he was like, hey man, take as long as you need. It was a Friday. I go, I'll be here on Monday.
So you walked the fuck out.
I immediately just called the GM. I go, hey, just so you know, I've taken another opportunity and I'm going to do something else. And he was like, all right, cool. Just let the other hotel know. And I'm like, no problem. And I remember emailing that guy, and he was like, hey, I'm really stunned right now. Basically, he was like, I didn't expect this. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't really helpful. So I was like, why is this a big deal? I'm not going to be back. Like, I got a new job. I'm out.
This.
Yeah.
I thought we were giving you an opportunity to really grow yourself. I didn't expect that you would just.
I was getting paid $12.50 an hour. Like, I wasn't getting, and they weren't even paying for it. The Essex was. So.
Yeah.
Horseshit. Anyway, toxic communities suck, and if you're listening, reach out to us on our social medias. Tell us about your horrible situations. Like, I don't want to commiserate, but it feels good to get that stuff out because I like looking back to it in retrospect and just being like, Jesus Christ, like I survived that. I came out the other end, and again, I wasn't bullied or anything like that, but it was a harrowing experience for me just to see how to not manage people. And how to give really bad customer service. And how it hurt me. I hate to say this, but it hurt me in my soul to basically know that I was lying to people. Like, regularly lying to people. It was just the worst.
I will say, too, that if you're in a toxic work environment, you're going to get through it. Just know you're going to get through it because it can seem like it's really fucking dark while you're in the middle of it. We've all been in it. We've all gotten through it. Just keep pushing forward. Keep looking for that next thing. You'll get through it.
And here's also what I'll say. Find out what you really like to do. At that
Yes.
time, I just had that job because I needed to have a job while I was in grad school. And then I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't find any other job, but also because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right. You
I
were
remember
swinging
just
blind.
coming home and just being miserable. Jill's like, well, we got to figure out what to do. She's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And so, like, I didn't really have, so I convinced myself that try to find another hotel to work at, but I didn't like working at hotels. But then I felt like that's the only thing my resume spoke to. And so, I mean, I got lucky. I got lucky that I had a friend who had a position and he helped me get in there. So that was the big deal. And I feel like I returned the favor to Drew to some capacity. One hell to another, I suppose. But we've got Slotty who says, I feel like just saying I was an assistant manager at Radio Shack is all I need to say. And Married with Gaming says, you want to talk about toxic work environments? I worked at a GameStop. If you've ever been into a GameStop, you know how terrible that place is. Slotty says, each time you gave someone $4.16 for their 3-month-old game, a bit of your soul left. They were notorious for like, yeah, you can bring your games back and we'll buy them, but they bought them at such a discount. It was such a ripoff.
Oh, absolutely. It was like when you sell your books back at college.
Oh, that racket.
You buy a
That
book for
fucking
$9,
racket.
give you $6.50. Yeah.
Dude, you'd spend hundreds of dollars on horseshit books to then be like, and here's $10 back. It's like, fuck you. Ugh.
Water Speech says, kudos to you, Doug, for not developing a debilitating drinking habit during your tenure at the hotel. I agree, because I 100% after a bad day will fucking pour a cocktail and go to town. I would have been a wreck if I worked at that hotel.
I have my own vices, but I did develop plantar fasciitis from it, so, you know, tomato.
I feel like we need to pull a plantar fasciitis soundbite.
Here we go.
I don't know why, we just do.
I have plantar fasciitis. And
All right.
Mark.
And Mark. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, boy.
I once broke company policy and returned someone's new game because it was trash. Like it was just a bad game. What game was it?
What do you think it was?
Shaq Fu.
I did develop a crippling addiction to sex bots from working there. Yes, that's very true.
Yes.
Dude, that's the other thing I got exposed to was the world of prostitution. It was a real thing when you work at a hotel, without a doubt. The Medal of Honor remake.
Yeah, I can imagine the world of prostitution is a whole different thing to have your eyes open to.
I remember there was this pimp that came in, bright pink suit, hat, glasses, holding a Bible. And he was like, hey, man, I'm here to see the pool. And I was like, nah, man, like, we can't do that. Like, you got to schedule a time. He's like, no, I'm going to go on up. And he just, like, got in the elevator. I'm like, sir, no, you just can't come hang out. Like, he's like, I'm just going to take a look. I'm like, why are you here, sir? Like, you can't. No.
I'm here to see the pool.
I'm just here to check out the pool. I was like, dude, this dude is the most ridiculous looking guy I've ever seen. I was like, looking back and I'm like, he's probably checking on one of his ladies. Like, it's like, nah, I'm just gonna be all right. I'm like, no, you can't just do that. Like,
boy.
Between that and the homeless, man, I got really good at getting those guys out of the hotel. That was always a fun one. I had a guy come up to me at like 9:00 at night wearing a tank top, and his face, I just remember him kind of being like this, and he was like real like flaky. He's like face was all, his mouth was all, he had dry mouth, and he was like, hey man, do you have a job application? And I was like, sure. Here, because I didn't know what to do at the time, and this guy working with me like slapped my hand away. He goes, yeah, you gotta come back in the morning and do that during business hours, like, because then the guy goes, can I use your bathroom? He goes, no, it's locked up, man. Sorry, you got to come back. And they turn to me and goes, look, don't ever do that. Don't ever give everyone a job application at 9:00 at night, especially a guy looking like that. Like, you are not, that's not a good thing, all right? It's not a good thing. Don't do that. I was like, okay.
Oh, my God.
And then I also got the old change trick, Where guys would try to like, hey man, do you have change for a 5? I want some ones, and they start doing the math game with you, and they screw you up. Fortunately I never fell for that, but I definitely fell for some other tricks.
When we worked at, felt like we lived there. When we worked at the Container Store, Milos and I worked there, and Milos is real fucking sharp with money, with math. He's real fucking good at it. So when he would work register, he had someone tried to pull that on him, and Milos was smart enough to do like a reverse change game with him, and was like, "No, here's why this is wrong," and like, boom, 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 get back at him. And I was just like, dude, I would have so given that guy the wrong money. This company is so lucky I wasn't working the register today.
I did have one big fuck up that I thought about the other day that I'm still mad that I let happen. This young kid, had to be 20 or less or younger, came in and he wanted to book like a couple of suites. That in itself was weird.
Yeah.
So he gave me a card. I tried to use the card and it declined. And usually what you do is you have to call it in. Mm-hmm. So instead of calling the card company, he goes, yeah, you know what? Just call this number. And I took the number that he gave me, and they're like, yeah, he gave me some fake number. He's like, approval code. He's like, it's approved. He went up there, and basically we got screwed for several $100s because I accepted it, even though I should have trusted my instincts. I'm like, it didn't work. But yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn it. I take it for a ride.
That's a hard lesson you had to learn.
Because I didn't want to be like, I'm sorry your card declined. That's always a really embarrassing thing for people, right?
We had to do that at the Container Store too. We had to do the number and the whole 9 yards. And you have to say, hey, look, I'm sorry. They go, well, can you run it again? I can't. It's
like, sure, I can. And it will have the same result.
Yep. Nope. Can't. Sorry. That's it.
Yeah.
It's game over. Yeah. The other situation that I found myself in when I worked at the Container Store. The throwdown.
Woo-woo! We're there.
Yeah. So today's throwdown. What's that?
Mary Gaming goes, is this the origin story of Practical Doug?
100%. Today's throwdown is partially inspired by Slotty. He had said one half of this, and I went, well, who could go up against that? So the only other person that I thought could go up against it, I chose. And today's throwdown is going to be Genie of the Lamp from Aladdin versus Kazaam.
So two genies?
Yeah. But it's Kazaam, Doug. It's Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. But it's Robin Williams' voice on a genie.
Right.
So this is why this is good, is what you're telling me.
Yep.
So I haven't seen Kazaam. So
I say we pause right now and watch it.
We'll be right back. Actually, it's on Amazon Prime. Let's start a watch party. Boop.
All right.
Oh, Slotty goes, we're talking exclusively the Will Smith remake, Genie?
Yes, actually, yes.
That's kind of perfect, actually.
It's person to person. It's not cartoon character to person. 100%. It is the Will Smith. I forgot I just watched that movie.
Really?
Literally, like a few days ago, and I completely forgot it existed.
That memorable of a film, huh?
Review. Yep.
How good is it? I don't know. I forgot about it.
I forgot it existed. When did you watch it? Today?
Did you have to work? No, I had the day off. Still didn't remember it.
All right, so we're talking about Kazaam versus Will Smith's version of Genie of the Lamp from Aladdin.
So tell me about Kazaam.
So Kazaam is a genie that comes out of a boombox. That's about all I remember.
What happens if the boombox gets destroyed?
Well, it's a magic boombox, so it can't.
Because I have a feeling
true is the thing. I don't know if any of that's true.
Because I feel like, I mean, that thing's probably no one's coming out of that boombox. Kazaam's all by himself for the rest of his life because no one's using boomboxes anymore. That was a poor choice. A very period. No, how did he get trapped in the boombox? How long was he in there? How old is Kazaam?
Doug, you're asking me as if I've done research on this. I have not.
Because that implies that that's a relatively new device, which means he would have been a genie in that device for only a short amount of time. Which leads you to believe he's a young genie, not skilled, versus the other genie from Aladdin, which has been around for a long time.
He's been around a while. His hobbies though are singing and rock concerts.
Yeah. Not really too different from the Disney one either. So
I'm telling you right now. Let's see.
Slotty says Shaq made $7 million on that film.
Oh.
He was hot shit, man. What do you make on Shaq Fu?
Let's see. So he's been around since like biblical times because he mentions biblical events in his verses that he sings.
That doesn't mean shit. I reference a lot of stuff, but I wasn't around then.
We don't know that. I'm just trying to do a real quick man, I don't have enough
For
information.
fuck's sake, Justin.
I know. His occupation is a wish-granting genie. His powers are shape-shifting, immortality, wish-granting wisdom, and can rap very fast.
I love the photo of him on this page. Are you on hero.fandom.com?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I love this photo. I'm gonna try and share it with everybody because it is.
Oh, it's a 5,000-year-old genie.
All right.
Boom.
There you go. And there you go, friends. He's
At some
5,000.
point, he was trapped in a magic lamp and abandoned in a building. Kazaam moved from the lamp to the boombox soon after. So there you go.
Look at this face. Look at this face right here. That's a special one.
That's a face of a almost billionaire. That man is doing so well.
That man is on his way to becoming a billionaire right there.
Yeah, man. I just feel like it's Shaq. How can you deny anything Shaq does? Shaq as a genie is better than any other genie.
I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like Genie from Aladdin. Abilities.
The Twitch stream, we're getting off topic. Let's not debate Shaq Fu. Let's debate this.
Here we go. Fandom.com. Oh,
Amazing.
This is Disney fandom, right? My God, he was in so many movies. So this guy's been around. The lamp itself was sealed away in the Cave of Wonders for 10,000 years.
Oh, okay. So he's older. Okay.
He possesses phenomenal cosmic powers, and he is bound to an itty bitty living space. He can only use his powers when the owner of the lamp, his master, makes a wish. So can Kazaam do anything unless his master grants a wish? Or asks a wish?
I think he's still because his goals are to become free of curses of wish granting.
Yeah, so I guess they're basically kind of the both in that regard.
But if they were able to shed that, if both of their masters wished for them to duel each other.
Oh,
how about that?
Duel each other to the death. Interesting.
Exactly. That's how we get into this.
So what do you see that Kazaam is able to summon?
Well, he can rap really fast.
Okay.
According to this, he can summon some sick
ass beats.
rhymes. Yep.
Shape-shifting, immortality, wish-granting, wisdom, can rap very fast. I love that that's the thing.
You know, I'll say this. While we see him, do a bunch of shit. As we see him, he conjures junk food from the sky.
Okay.
What do you do? He asks for his parents to get back together. He can't do that, so they can't do the love thing. Genie's holding my for the big. Okay. He conjures junk food.
I mean, granted, his master was a child, so it's probably going to be limited, but...
He turns someone into a human baseball and throws him down a garbage chute, so he's murdered people. Like, for sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Married with Gaming says, are we able to call this throwdown an entanglement?
Yes.
Will Smith's in an entanglement.
Shaq Diesel was the first audio cassette I ever owned. So
boy.
I guess that means that Slotty is going for Kazaam.
I gotta go with Aladdin's genie on this one. I think we've just seen him do. Not to say that Kazaam couldn't, but based on what we've
murdered, because Kazaam has murdered.
What, you think the genie has it from Aladdin?
Have we seen it?
I mean, there's implied murder.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of implication.
Yeah,
He's
right.
been indicted. Has he ever been convicted?
Allegedly, he's murdered people. I mean, we've seen the stuff that like he's able to do because of Jafar, right? He's able to grant magic, make Jafar a wizard. He's able to like lift the palace up. He becomes a giant and can move those sorts of things. And I mean, he turns Jafar into a genie. I mean,
I do think we have seen the genie of the lamp from Aladdin do a lot more and have to contend with a lot more. Kazaam raps about his powers, but man, does the genie of the lamp put on a show when he's talking about his powers.
Kazaam transforms into a djinn, granting him even more power at the end of the movie, and he restores a child from the dead. Oh, that's right, because the genie in Aladdin says he can't bring dead people back. He can't bring anyone back from the dead.
Anyone fall in love with each other. He can't.
He can't give you more wishes.
And he can't give you more wishes. Right.
Okay.
So if Kazaam levels up into a djinn, whatever that is.
Djinn, yeah.
Sure. Now is it aviation? Is what I want to know.
What?
Because I like a good gin martini myself.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
If Kazaam can level up, I feel like that puts him above the genie of the lamp. Then, if he can resurrect, that's a power that the genie of the lamp does not possess.
But what good does that do them in a fight with another genie?
Resurrect himself.
That's not how this works.
But I'm saying if he can, that is a power level above what. Thank you. Meredith Gaming understood my gin reference. That is a power level above what another genie possesses. So who knows what other powers come with becoming a dry gin?
I don't know, man. This one's kind of a toss-up for me. Like, I love the idea of two genies fighting each other. I think that's amazing. Like, those two, I think they're pretty close to one another.
I will say that we've seen the genie of the lamp do more, but the fact that Kazaam can level up to a different being at the end, that to me indicates a higher level of power.
Well, not that he was able to swap from a lamp to a boombox. He's able to shift his plane of existence. And
he's keeping with the times.
He is. I was like, if he started in a boombox, he's young. So
that's true. Yeah. Now, the genie of the lamp is older, presumably, if he's been in the lamp for 10,000 years and Kazaam has been
he was in the Cave of Wonders for 10,000 years. So he's been alive longer than that, but he was like in prison there doing nothing for 10,000 years.
Right. So if Kazaam has been out more recently or as a younger genie, maybe he's got a little bit more, hey man, Juju and is ready to go.
Juju and his poo-poo?
That's it. Juju in his poo-poo.
We'll get to the butt in a second.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm okay with going with Kazaam on this one.
See, now I'm talking myself back into the genie of the lamp. But I think that we have to go because he levels up. I can't believe I'm saying this, but do you really want to go with Kazaam?
That's fine. He had a child as a master. I don't think we get to see his full potential. So, yeah, I'll go with Kazaam.
Kazaam for the win!
That was a really good one that I just didn't have enough really either way. I was kind of like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, honestly.
They're very equal. It was a good one, though.
The argument between the two was very weak. For those who are a big Kazaam fan, please sound off in the comments and let us know why we were right or wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Woo!
I smell a poll happening on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, that actually is a good one. That hopefully we'll get. Let's generate some engagement on our social medias.
That was a great Slotty impression.
Justin, what do you got to recommend this week?
Oh man, guys, check out the live action version of Aladdin. You need to watch it. It's on Disney Plus. You'll love it. I promise. If you remember that you watched it.
That's hilarious. I don't have a whole lot. Oh, go ahead.
Watch Schitt's Creek. It got 15 Emmy nominations, and it held. I think that's the record for a comedy series.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of new to recommend, but I keep getting tickled down in my nether regions listening to Two Bears, One Cave and Your Mom's House podcast. It's Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, and the most recent episode, Bert Kreischer has had Warren Sapp's phone number for weeks, and each week Tom is like, dude, please call Warren Sapp. And Bert's like, I don't want to seem like I'm, pestering him. And I text him and he's not answering. And then this last episode, Tom insists at the top. He goes, will you please fucking call him? And he does. And Warren Sapp picks up. And it's awesome.
Okay.
It's amazing.
All right.
It's absolutely amazing. And it's the two of them just got so giddy over it. It was so much fun to watch. So Two Bears, One Cave. Also, Your Mom's House podcast apparently is doing a live recording of their episode of their podcast in August.
Awesome.
So I'm going to try and buy tickets for it because it sounds awesome. August 14th.
Very cool.
Their big thing was, hey, most of the platforms that we're on don't allow us to play our content unedited. So we can't do it through YouTube because they always say no to everything we do, and Twitch is not going to let us do it. So they found a place, and apparently they sat down and they're like, hey, so we're really big on, playing whatever we want. They're like, it's totally cool. And their producer goes, I don't think you understand. In the last month, I vomited twice preparing clips for the show. So, and here's the thing. We consider that a successful show if that happens. So that's where we are. And they're like, that's cool. They're like, okay. Just so you know.
Do you remember?
I don't even know what it was. They said, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is. But,
all right. Fair enough.
It's I was like, oh, this should be real interesting. So it'll be really cool. So
that sounds awesome.
Your Mom's House podcast, Two Bears, One Cave podcast. It's worth checking out. So
yes.
Woo-hoo! Guys, don't you forget to follow us on all of our social medias at Mind Gap Podcast. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. And also, don't forget to check out our video game live stream every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central Time at twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast, because this week we're going back into the dungeon, baby. Back in for Dungeons & Dragons, the fantasy board game, adventure number 4. Will Justin and the crew of Dungeon Karens survive this and level up to level 2? Who knows? Hopefully they do. Last time they defused almost all those traps. They dodged them all, except for a couple.
And we got down to almost dead. A couple of us almost died.
You guys played it really well because of those potions. So come by, see how that is. It's going to be a really good time. So aside from all the Mind Gap stuff, you can also follow Justin digitally as well.
That's true. On Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the all-man realm, check us out on
Spotify,
on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, all the places where you can consume the podcasts. You can rate us, review us, share us, like us, all those things. The big one for us is sharing. Please just copy the link, share it out on any of your social medias and say, hey, knuckleheads, listen to these knuckleheads. Think you'll enjoy being knuckleheads together. And then people will listen, we'll get bigger, and good things happen from that. And then check out 2east8th.com/mindgap, and then just keep an eye on 2 East 8th. We've got a new blog page out there, so I want you to read our blogs as we post them. We're working on a super secret quarantine web series project, and we're dropping some teasers on social media so you can see some of the previews of the episodes. We have 10 episodes that we'll be releasing starting hopefully very soon. And our 2 short films that are in post-production are slowly grinding further and further towards the finish line. So eventually,
I love how you moved up and down as you said that. Like, we're grinding, we're getting it.
Those 2 short films are growing and growing and growing. They may be short to start. They're growers, not showers. Actually, they are showers because you should watch them. So that's what it is.
We gonna make it happen.
And also buy our merchandise. Teespring.com. Teespring.com/stores/2e8.
Yes, those things.
Yes.
I want to say muchos gracias to you, Justin.
Oh, merci beaucoup to you, Doug.
Prego to the Twitch people. I said it right.
You're welcome, I think.
Exactly. You're welcome, Twitch.
And listeners, Ha-cha-cha.
You all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.